Hello. What y'all think?
Woo!
Thank you so much for being here for a super fun Mood Wednesday. I think this film is such a great testament to the kind of work that we want to put out and support. It's just such a great debut. So please join me in welcoming our amazing filmmaker here, Amy Wang.
Woo! Yeah.
Hello. Thank you for joining us tonight. I know you just flew to LA. Yeah. But it's so good to have you here. The crowd was like loving. I got to like watch. Yeah. And congratulations on just like what a successful run that this has had already and is about to be released. So tell everyone,
Yes, please tell everyone. It's in cinemas tomorrow, officially Friday, but yeah.
Let's start at the beginning. Like, this is your feature directorial debut. What kind of first gave you the filmmaking bug and got you into it? Yeah.
Back in the day, yeah.
Take it back.
I feel like it was when I was such a film school answer, but I was around 15 when I first watched Fight Club. Right, everybody loves Fincher. But yeah, I feel like, I remembered watching Fight Club in my bedroom, and right after I watched it, I ran downstairs to my parents who were watching, cooking dinner. And I was like, I want to make people feel how Fight Club made me feel. Because it had something important to say, about consumerism. It was hilarious and dark. The twist at the end was incredible, and so all of these things kind of just really inspired me, and made me want to do what that made me feel.
I think you did such an amazing job. We were talking a little bit about I can just this is a person that loves movies and is definitely I can feel the influences that you have, but it's just so original and has a great unique voice in its own too. But where did this idea first come from? And when were you this is gonna be my first feature?
So I grew up in Sydney, Australia, and I was born in China, immigrated to Sydney when I was 7, so kind of similar to our main character Joan. And I love Australia, and it's my parents are still there, and it's always going to be their home. But as a teenager growing up there, I felt like I needed to assimilate very quickly, and despite my best efforts to kind of, as much as possible, distance myself from my culture, I would still have people, come up to me and be like, wow, you speak English without an accent, congratulations, or where are you really from? And really make me realize that it didn't matter how much I tried to shed myself, my face would always, give away that I was different, so it was kind of a feeling where I felt like whenever I walked outside, people would prejudge me and kind of see my race first and have opinions about that before they got to know me and my personality and what was inside my mind. And so as a teenager, I would wake up sometimes and I would think, wouldn't life just be easier if I was white? And so obviously the core concept with this movie, this is what she wants and she gets what she wants, and then this is what happens.
Yeah, for sure. And it really goes for it. You get the concept, because I think I heard some people talking I heard about the log line online and stuff, and people are immediately whoa, what is this? And that's how I was at South by too. When this world premiered, what was it like pitching this to people and getting collaborators involved and such?
Yeah, so it was kind of a really fortuitous kind of moment. So around when I came up with the idea, it was when there was a spa shooting in Atlanta back in 2021, where a bunch of Asian American spa workers were killed in Atlanta. And I remember, reading about that and all of my memories of growing up in Sydney and the fear and the rage kind of all came back. And that's when I kind of started coming up with this idea. And then a really good friend of mine, who's a producer on the movie Trevor Wall, he actually emailed me out of the blue. He was like, "Hey, I'm working for this new company that's being run by Drake, the rapper." And super random, and
Like, oh.
and he was like, "Yeah, do you have any ideas? We're looking for independent features and things to finance." And I pitched him Slanted, and he loved it. And he, basically him and his boss at the time, they bought the pitch and then paid me to write the script. And by that point, I had, I'd worked a little bit as a screenwriter, as a TV writer. Like I sold a couple of things and rewritten a bunch of stuff. So, after that, I did a couple of drafts of the script, and they found financing with Fox.
Amazing.
Yeah,
That
which
is
is also
like a
very
dream.
creative. Yeah, Fox out of all the places.
For sure. I mean, when it's there, we're gonna take it, and then you can turn it into like amazing art that impacts people and has something to say, socially and all of that. That is great. Was there any kind of like things that you had to do, or maybe in the room or such, with it being your first feature, or did you just find people that were like fully behind you?
Yeah, I mean, the reason why I came out to America was to go to the American Film Institute, which
Woo.
is right around the corner. So my thesis film that I did over there, that was kind of, a big reason why they let me direct this, and then also my writing work. It was pretty chill. I feel like, I think casting was definitely something that was like, me and the producers were talking about like, okay, are the agents gonna get it? Are the actors gonna get it? Are they gonna freak out? And surprisingly, it was like, I think one agent freaked out, but everybody else, like we had some huge champions at CAA and WB, and where most of these girls are repped, and they really understood what I was trying to go for and what I was trying to say, and it was pretty smooth.
That's amazing. And let's talk about that, the casting, because I think we were talking about that a little bit in the front of just like how so many of these roles are like layered. They have to play these like different layers, especially McKenna. I was about to say, I don't say Joe. McKenna. So what was the process like, and what were those moments of like, oh, we've got this?
Yeah, so we cast Shirley first. I knew of Shirley's work. Obviously she was in Dee Dee, she was in Beast, this really great, her first feature. We watched a bunch of auditions. She was, by far the best, and we picked her. And then, it was important for me to kind of find a white girl who kind of, matched her essence and could imitate her. And McKenna's kind of renowned for imitating, right? Like she played the young, like Margot Robbie and I, Tonya, right? And she played the young Miss Marvel. Like a character actor, yeah. So, I had lunch with her, and she really understood the themes, and she could really relate just to the idea of like wanting to belong, And then once we cast both of them, I did a lot of physical exercises and rehearsals. Yeah, the Mandarin. I had to speak Mandarin, and sang with her like every day on set to make sure her accent, was on point. But yeah, like, you know, we worked through memory games and like came up with, you know, together came up with like, what were you doing on your 12th birthday? You know, what's a memory there, and what's a memory of you guys spending time with your parents, because they really had to, yeah, feel like the same person. And the nose thing we came up with, I think that really helped tie. How they flipped their hair, how they walked, how they dance and imitate. Just yeah, a lot of exercises.
Just the walk when McKenna first comes in into the home and her parents are like, "Who are you?" You're like, that's Shirley. There really is this kind of like, this through line in their physicality is amazing. And so thinking back a year ago, this film won the Grand Jury Prize at South by Southwest.
Woo! Woo!
Thinking back on that year, what has kind of the response been to the film?
I mean, it's been so interesting because, you know, for the most part, a lot of POCs have experienced a similar, you know, I guess high school experience that I did in America and Australia. Like we've, you know, screened it it won like a big prize in Germany, super straight, ranked, you know, but and you know, that's been really cool. But what's also really interesting is like, you know, and why the character of Brenda's character exists is there are a lot of POCs who I think may not have experienced, you know, the desires to be white, which is incredible. But I think what has been really cool is like, even though it may not have been about race that they were insecure about, they have said, you know, maybe it was their sexuality, maybe it was their gender, maybe it was, you know, something else, you know, they wanted to be taller, shorter, whatever. And I feel like with this movie, you know, it really kind of, it's uncomfortable, and it's something that is, you know, kind of exciting, because it definitely makes people look inwards and think, you know, when was I vulnerable? When did I feel insecure about, you know, myself, and kind of vocalize it? Because normally I don't really talk about that stuff. I mean, I certainly didn't when I was growing up, and it took, you know, this many years to get it up there.
Mm-hmm, totally. I think you tapped into something like really universal, and of course because we can relate to it, but I like in just thinking about a belonging, and how tough a lot of us had in like middle school and high school and such. But yeah, just when I first watched it, it was definitely like, oh my gosh. So we all felt this way for sure. We have a little time for audience questions too. If you want to take some from the audience, any questions? Yeah, right up front here.
Hi, I loved your movie so much.
Oh my gosh, are you dressed?
I wanted to wear a crown.
Amazing.
Half of the movie of it all. But I loved your film so much. One thing that I wanted to mention is I was like laughing, crying, like the whiplash of emotions I was feeling throughout. I was just wondering how you like blended tones so seamlessly throughout the story. Like it just felt so like seamless and interwoven.
Thank you. The tone. So my cinematographer and I actually, shout out to Ed Wu, who shot this. We came up with kind of a system where, because I wanted to shoot it in a very grounded way, but the themes, the plot, you know, the tone was kind of larger than life. We would kind of number the scenes from 1 to 5. So 1 being like, you know, I'm talking like super grounded, like a fish tank, Andrea Arnold fish tank, and then 5 being, I think we use like Sorry to Bother You as, you know, as like
surreal.
Yeah, they're like, you know, Sorry to Bother You is like crazy colors, you know, the way it's shot, the performances, everything is like over the top. And we would kind of, like make sure we didn't have like go from 1 to 5 constantly. It would kind of be more of a flowing thing. And then sometimes we would change, you know, in during a scene too, right? It's like the scene, one of my favorite scenes you mentioned, when McKenna does come back and she has to, you know, confront her parents for the first time. It's devastating, but you know, she hands them the pamphlet with like, so your, you know, daughter decided to turn white, you know, like, and then she sings, and it's just, it kind of, you know, so we made sure to kind of always be very conscious of that. And then also, I think music really helps as well. Yeah, awesome composer, Shirley Song. She, you know, composed incredible score, and I feel like that really tied the tones together as well.
Any other questions? Yes, right there.
How did what we saw on the screen change from your first draft of the script?
How did so the question was, how did what we see kind of change from script to screen?
Quite a bit actually, yeah. Like, I want to say the first draft, I didn't think it was about prom. Yeah, which is like a huge, like, I didn't have the scenes with young Joan, you know, as a kid. The ending was different as well, and it was something where, you know, for me as I kept writing, I realized the movie, because for me the journey of the story is about self-acceptance, right, and self-love, and you have a character who starts off rejecting who she is, being ashamed, and the final moment when she tears off, you know, her eye and she sees her old self for the first time and she smiles for the first time. That's really the end of her arc. That's the end of her journey, you know, because she's seen her former self and she smiles at herself. And so that was you know, a discovery as I was writing it, because I did have like scenes, you know, when she went to college and yeah, like, yeah, it was like, it went on, yeah, but I'm glad.
Yeah, the whole series.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. Yeah.
Yes.
So, when I saw the log line, I thought this was Mean Girls meets The Substance.
Yeah.
And upon watching it, I'm so glad that you were talking about Sorry to Bother You, because I was like, wow, there's a lot of Sorry to Bother You in this, in the satire of just the town that they live in and everything like that. When you were first making this, were you going to do a lot of satire, or were you going to try and make it more of a personable story about her?
Yeah, I think it did always kind of lend itself to the satirical kind of tone, because the core concept, you know, this girl actually turning herself white was such an absurd concept, you know. It is like, you know, being John Malkovich or Eternal Sunshine. It's like those, you know, those films, I think in itself is just absurd. So I think that tone was always, you know, kind of there. And then, yeah, I just kind of had to flesh out the world and, you know, make sure it felt, like I still pushed it.
Totally.
Yeah.
And then we can still relate to this, like, it just feels, you talk about just feeling grounded, but then also, you know, this is very otherworldly. It's just like this great push and pull you have that you establish with those collaborators too that you talk about. Amazing. I've been ignoring this side. Anyone over there? Yes.
Thank you so much for being here. The movie's fantastic.
Thank you.
I think one of the standout scenes was the musical anesthesia number. I want to know how you made that. Like, did you shoot that? Was any of them licensed? Was there a second deal? It was just a mistake they were doing.
Yes. The music video, which is
Yes. Believe it or not, we actually had shot something different. Maybe we'll release it as like a bonus.
Blu-ray.
But you know, we didn't end up using it because it just, I mean, we shot this movie in 20 and a half days. It was an insane, for people who know, like, movies, way more time. So, you know, we didn't have a lot of time. We didn't have a lot of budget, you know, we didn't have the amount of extras because I in the script it was like this huge, you know, like musical number, and I had like dances and all this stuff. So we didn't capture it, you know, well, so we had to pivot in post. But it was always meant to be like a musical kind of karaoke number. And then the song we had made, you know, prior to shooting, so we knew kind of, what kind of footage. And most of it is licensed footage. Some of it we did shoot, but it's so that's just like a pivot that we had to make. I'm like, I don't know. I obviously, would have loved to have been able to, use footage that I actually shot, as a filmmaker. But yeah, people seem to still dig it, and it's wacky, and I heard people laughed.
Who's got a great last question? Yeah.
One of my favorite parts of the film was the relationship between the main character and her mother. What was some of your biggest influences onto how to write that relationship, or how to go about the art of that relationship between the two?
I mean, this film is really personal to my life. So, her parents are very much based on my parents. Like, my dad was a cleaner in Australia, and they're very supportive, and that was something that I wanted to make sure I did in this film. Is like, I think it's so easy to portray like an Asian mother as like the tiger mom, and like American dad is like a drunk, a gambler, and that was actually interesting in auditions. Sorry, I'll get to the question, but in auditions, it was really hard to find an actor. Like, Feng did such an incredible job in here as her dad, but because a lot of actors were leaning into like, I'm a hateful, like, how dare you, do the shit. Whereas
Loves her.
Yes, I needed a very empathetic performance. But her and her relationship with her mother definitely, very much based on my life. And I love movies like Minari and The Farewell, and these really incredibly grounded, real relationships. So they were definitely big influences.
Amazing. Thank you again, Amy. How can people support?
Go tell your friends, to watch the movie. Again, it comes out on this Friday, in 2 days.
Amazing.
Thank
Give it
you
up for
guys.
Amy.